They say a badge is supposed to protect you, but when you wear the wrong skin underneath it, sometimes that badge turns into a target. Sofia Navarro learned that the hard way, right there on the blistering boardwalk of Windermere Bay. Mid-jog, mid-sweat, mid-mission. Handcuffed like a common thief by a cop who didn't even ask her name. And the worst part? She outranked her. Let me back up a sec. That morning started like any other. The sun hadn't fully risen yet, but the boardwalk was already humming, seagulls screeching, coffee shops clinking, joggers with earbuds in, pretending the world was safe. Sofia tied her laces like she'd done 1,000 times before, double knot, left foot first. She wore a faded green tank top, a pair of old sneakers, and not a hint of the captain's badge that had taken her 20 years and twice as many scars to earn. Because she wasn't just out for a run, she was working undercover, tracking a trafficking ring that had been poisoning her city from the docks. But one red ponytail and a loaded ego later, it all came crashing down. Officer Kayla Brewster, 5'6", badge gleaming like she just polished it with vinegar, saw Sofia stretching near a bench and decided she didn't look like she belonged. No ID, check. Black skin in a mostly white neighborhood, check. Reason to assume guilt? Not really. But she didn't need one. Before Sofia could even explain, her arms were wrenched behind her, cuffs bit into her wrists, and Brewster was barking "Suspect detained" loud enough to draw a crowd. Someone pulled out a phone. Someone else pointed. A kid whispered, "Is she a criminal?" "Sofia?" She kept her voice calm. She always did. "I'm a captain. Police. Undercover." Brewster smirked like she'd heard a joke. "You got proof of that, sweetheart?" But Sofia didn't. No badge, no wallet, standard protocol when you're deep in ops. Only her phone, and even that had gone flying into a bush during the scuffle. By the time they reached the station, the damage was done. But here's where it gets worse. Sofia had trained half the officers in that precinct. She'd mentored some, reprimanded others. And when she walked in cuffed and bruised, there were gasps, stares. One officer, Malik Reyes, even stood up from his desk. "Captain Navarro?" he asked. But Brewster didn't blink. "Suspicious behavior," she said. "Possible theft. No ID." Reyes flinched but didn't speak again, because in Windermere PD, silence was survival. They shoved Sofia in a holding cell. She leaned against the concrete wall, staring at the fluorescent buzz above her, wondering how years of honor could be undone by a single ego and a single racial assumption. And just when she thought it couldn't get more humiliating, Captain Elijah Brooks, her direct superior, walked in, saw her, went pale, said nothing. Brewster began spinning a tale about erratic behavior and loitering, Sofia's fists clenched behind her back. She could have screamed, but she didn't, because this wasn't just about her now. It was about the mission. The traffickers would have seen the whole thing by now, viral clips, mugshots, her face plastered on news tickers. And if they had, her cover was blown. She'd spent months building that identity, meeting informants, tracking shipments, risking everything, and in under 10 minutes, Brewster had detonated it. And you know what's wild? Sofia had survived worse. Flashback 10 years. She was knee-deep in a sweltering Iraqi compound during a joint operation with U.S. forces. At 29, she was the only woman in her squad, the only one who spoke Arabic fluently, and the only one who didn't flinch when they dragged a child out with a grenade strapped to his chest. She talked that kid down, saved every life in that room. That's where she learned it. Discipline, composure, the art of not breaking when the world tried to split you in half. She wasn't handed her captain's bars. She earned them crawling through hell and coming out breathing. But none of that mattered now. Not to Brewster, not to the media, not even to her department, because within hours the news cycle was frothing. Suspect detained on boardwalk turns out to be police captain. Undercover operation compromised after mistaken arrest. Some reporters defended her, others asked why she didn't carry ID. Social media, a battleground. Justice. For Sofia trended in one state. Suspicious Jogger trended in another. Then came the panel shows, talking heads screaming at each other. She should have followed orders. She was the orders. It didn't take long for local officials to buckle under the pressure. The mayor issued a statement of deep concern. The city council promised an internal review. And Brewster, put on administrative leave, with pay. That same night, Sofia's apartment was ransacked. Broken dishes, spray paint on the walls, rat. The message was clear: keep your mouth shut. She didn't. Because deep down she knew this wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every officer who'd ever swallowed their pride, every black cop who walked the line between two worlds, and every woman who'd been told calm down when she had every right to scream. So she lawyered up, filed charges, demanded a tribunal. Her legal team? One ex-Marine JAG attorney with a vendetta against crooked brass, and one sharp-tongued civil rights lawyer named Brianna Locke, who had taken down 2 DA offices in her time and didn't flinch when death threats hit her inbox. The hearing room was packed. Captain Brooks looked like he hadn't slept in days. Brewster showed up with a smirk and a brand new manicure. The department's PR rep tried to spin it. A tragic misunderstanding, they said. No malice intended. But then came the testimony. Malik Reyes took the stand, and he cracked. Said he saw Brewster call Sofia a hood rat off camera. Said Brewster had been itching for a takedown all week. Said he'd been warned not to speak by internal affairs. That's when the room shifted. Gasps, murmurs. One commissioner stood up and left. But just as the tide began to turn, an anonymous leak hit the press. A body cam clip, edited, cropped, conveniently cutting off Brewster's slurs. The department claimed it was the only version available. And once again, doubt crept back in. Half the city was screaming for Sofia's reinstatement. The other half, accusing her of faking it all for publicity. And here's the thing. She had every right to burn it all down, to sue, to retire, to name names and walk away with a settlement fat enough to disappear. But she didn't, because somewhere between the hearings and the hate mail, she received a letter from a girl, 13 years old, mixed race, said she wanted to be a cop someday because of Sofia. That's what made her choose. Not revenge, not even justice, but responsibility. She returned to work the next week, on desk duty. Eyes followed her everywhere. Some nodded in support, others whispered. One officer spat near her locker. She said nothing, because she was waiting for the right moment, waiting for the next truth to rise. And it did, sooner than anyone expected. An anonymous source from within the department leaked a full, unedited clip of the body cam footage, plus transcripts of Brewster's previous complaints, one of which included suspicious activity in minority-heavy areas. The backlash? Explosive. Protests outside the station. The mayor forced to fire the chief. State investigations opened. And Brewster? Resigned before she could be fired. Disappeared from public view. But the damage was done, not just to Sofia, to Windermere PD, to the public trust, to every officer caught in the middle. Some even quit. Others doubled down. And then there was Officer Reyes. He was demoted, moved to records, started receiving threats. Sofia visited him, said thank you. He just nodded, eyes sunken. It was the right thing, he said, but it wasn't easy. That's the part no one talks about. Doing the right thing doesn't come with applause. Sometimes it comes with bruises. Weeks passed. Sofia gave interviews, was praised by civil rights groups, vilified by others. She received bouquets and bullets in the mail, literal ones. She bought a second lock for her apartment door, started sleeping with her badge under her pillow again. But she didn't stop, didn't quit. She kept showing up, because if she didn't, who would? Then came the final twist. She was offered a deal, quiet promotion, media silence, cushy transfer to a different department in another city, clean slate. But it came with a catch. She'd have to sign a non-disclosure, no lawsuits, no interviews, no truth. She stared at that contract for hours. Her lawyer told her it was a win, but it didn't feel like one, because when truth is the cost of peace, is it still peace? She declined, and that decision sparked fire, more protests, national coverage, a docuseries, even a Senate inquiry into racial profiling in law enforcement. Sofia became a symbol, loved, hated, analyzed, but never ignored again. And that's where we leave her, standing on that same boardwalk. No disguise this time, her badge visible, her skin glistening in the sun, the wind strong, the crowd watching. And Brewster? Gone, but not forgotten. Because the final shot? A figure watching Sofia from across the street, red ponytail catching the wind. Yeah, that happened. Now let me ask you, if justice costs you everything, would you still choose it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Sofia have taken the deal or burned the system down? Like, share, and subscribe if you believe the truth still matters. And remember, sometimes the hardest battles are the ones we fight inside the badge.